it's Kisha here with Defending the Early Years podcast. We'll be focusing on amplifying the voices of early childhood educators, advocates, and all of those who love children. Hey everybody, today we have Atiya Wells, and I'm so excited. I've been watching you, Atiya, from afar on Facebook, just watching your amazing project unfold. Backyard Basecamp.
Yes.
Can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about this project and about your work in general?
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Atiya Wells. I am the founder and executive director of Backyard Basecamp. And our mission at Backyard Basecamp is to reconnect Black, Indigenous, and people of color to land and nature. We are based in Baltimore City in the state of Maryland. And our main project is a 10-acre land reclamation project that we lovingly call BLISS Meadows. And BLISS is an acronym that stands for Baltimore Living in Sustainable Simplicity. And our MO basically with this site is to really create a multi-use community space where we've started an urban farm. So we grow vegetables and fruit. We have chickens, we have goats, we have sheep. We have, our site basically is the community green space. So we have also 7 acres of woods where we've created a nature trail throughout the space so that our community can have access to green space and nature and access to safe recreation in the outdoors.
What I absolutely love is so much about that. But what I absolutely love is that you are in the city.
Mm-hmm.
You are in the city and you've made a way for children to have access to safe space in nature. I love that you have not been hindered by the idea that you can't do it there.
Yeah.
Another thing that I've seen recently from you is I saw a wonderfully done video about taking blight and turning it into useful community space.
Mm-hmm.
That is amazing work. That is big work. And what I keep wondering is how did you come about this? How did you get this idea? And then how did you turn it from just an idea into something that is happening?
That is a really, really long story. And over the past 2 years that we've been working on it, I've been trying to shorten it and it just seems to get longer. But I will tell you the shortest version of the story is it really begins with my 2 children. So I have right now an 8-year-old daughter, Corey, and a 5-year-old son, Kai. And just by watching them exploring the outdoors, really made me sort of become more interested in what was in our environment. Kids, they will come up and, bring you every single leaf and flower and be like, what's this thing? What's this thing? And, not knowing what the answers were made me want to find the answers. And so as I started to do a lot of research and just trying to figure out what the things that we kept seeing were called, I would sign up for a bunch of classes on like plant identification and nature identification. And I just noticed that in each and every one of those classes, I was either the only one or one of the few people of color in the room. And that spans from the leadership to facilitators to participants. And I just kept having this question burning down inside of me, like, where are my people? Where are my people at? And then the book Farming While Black came out, and reading that book, I started to learn about things like food apartheid and food access and food deserts. And I started to look more deeply at our own neighborhood makeup and why things are the way they are. And I started to learn about ancestral wounding and ancestral trauma, whereby, the stories that our ancestors or our grandparents have told us have really led us to have this sort of, we sort of associate the outdoors with negativity because of enslavement, because of, forced farming, because of being chased through the woods and maimed by wild dogs. So we just associate the outdoors with danger. Mm-hmm. And I just really wanted to sort of reframe and reshape our narrative, because one of the major reasons why Black people were stolen is because we knew the land, we are of the land. And so I wanted to tell our story in a more powerful way, to let people know that, I like to say, we're not new to this, we're true to this. So we've been outside, we've been farming, we've been, knowing herbs, we were herbalists, we were all of these things, and it's not anything new to us. It's inherently in us, it's inherently in our DNA. We just need to do a better job at telling these stories and honoring that history.
Yes, and telling these stories to our children, right?
Exactly,
So that they can
exactly
carry
that.
this on. I absolutely love the origin of the passion from the
Hmm.
children, from your
Yeah,
own children, and observing what they naturally gravitate towards.
yeah.
They are genuinely lucky. So I know that you're expanding from this was probably a part of the original plan because it started with the children, but you're expanding now into an after school program, or is it a summer camp?
So there's a summer camp that we host on site. It's called the Fox and Heron program. And then we also do public school programming. So they either do a field trip to Bliss Meadows, or we go to the school and we do environmental education with them. And there's a couple of other wellness programs that we're putting in there for adults as well. But primarily our flagship program right now is our summer camp. It is an 8-week program. The kids are with us from Monday through Friday for about 5 hours. We give them snacks, we feed them lunch. And the main goal of it is really sort of everyday exposure, because people say that city kids don't know nature, city kids don't get outside. And so because we have this space to really let them explore in a safe way, we're able to provide them with that opportunity to explore, in our meadow, to explore in the woods, to really take care of chickens, to really, start going to brush goats and feeding the goats their snacks, and just learning how to take care of our environment and take care of each other.
Hmm. And how do you notice that the program is shifting the mindset in the community?
Hmm, that's a really deep question. So I will say, I'm going to answer this in like a couple of different steps.
Hmm.
um, I will say, just from, first of all, turning this vacant lot into this community gem now. I've seen the way that the community has started to treat the space, has started to come to the space. We call the people who live across the street our security staff. And so, and so if they see something that doesn't look up to par, they usually call one of us, me especially. They'll say, hey, something. And the beauty of that is, primarily all of us who work at Backyard Basecamp live in the neighborhood, and so we're able to
Oh,
just get
wow.
there quickly. I live 3 blocks away from the site. Another
So
one of our
this is a
workers.
true
Yes,
community
yes,
effort.
yes.
Hmm.
It's a true community effort. And then during the summer camp with the kids and the parents, we've seen them develop relationships with each other. So, one parent was having issues with transportation and getting her kid to camp. And so the other mamas stepped up and was like, hey, if I can come pick her up and bring her. And the beauty of that program too is that folks and the kids in that program, the people in our zip code got priority. So they're all our community members. And it's people who, most of them did not know each other, but they got to know each other through, waiting at check-in or waiting at checkout, because the kids never wanted to leave. So their parents were usually there for about an extra 15-20 minutes,
Hmm.
just trying to gather their children. And so they got to know each other, and just to witness the beauty of the relationship building with the parents, and, to see them continuing to keep in contact, continuing to engage with us when we have programs and things, they bring their kids back. Um, and then, the way that the kids are when they see each other after they haven't seen each other for so long, it's been really beautiful.
And I can actually
Um,
feel that when I'm looking at your photos and when I'm seeing your weekend experiences. I can
yeah,
feel that sense of community.
yeah,
And that's
yeah.
what really drew me to it. Like, what? Look at this. And then to see that it's in Baltimore, it's right
Yep.
here. I grew up in Silver Spring, Maryland, and I had family who lived in Baltimore. So on the weekends, we'd go down to Baltimore
Hmm.
back in the day and do double dutch on the sidewalk and go to the penny store to get candy. So I know that space, and I've been there and I played there.
Yeah.
Um, I think what we're missing so much in society now is that community aspect where you know your
Mm,
neighbors, where you take the
mm,
time to chit chat, where you know, you can't get your child somewhere, you have somebody to call up. And
yes.
that's priceless. That's
Yeah.
priceless. It's an in addition to what you're already given this community. I also noticed some wonderful, you talked about food security. I noticed some wonderful work going on with your garden and free produce and other
Mhm.
community outreach efforts. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of what are the mechanisms that you've used to create and sustain programs like that? Who's helping you?
Oh, yeah, we get by with a little help and a lot of help from our friends. So, we have a powerful unit of volunteers. We were just running the numbers for our annual report, and volunteers has helped us do over $200,000 worth of work on the site, and that's helping us with this produce distribution. And so we grow, like I said, fruits and vegetables. We also have a partnership with an organization based out of Pennsylvania, who gathers produce from other farms, and they package them up, and they bring those boxes to community sites, and then the community distributes them. And so we are a distribution site, and every week we give out around like 2,000 pounds of produce now. So, there are 10-pound boxes of farm fresh organic produce.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so we're there every Saturday from 9 to 12, giving out these boxes, meeting people. We post a lot on social media about them. There's a local neighborhood group called Next Door that we post on. And we're just there, meeting people. We don't ask a lot of questions. A lot of people feel like, when they're coming, they need to tell us like where they're going, who they're giving it to. And I'm like, I don't care. I just need to know
Yeah.
how many boxes you
Take the
want.
food. Yep. Yep. Just tell us what you need. And
Yeah, exactly.
when I see this model, it speaks to my heart because in my eyes, this is what schools should look like. This is what
Hmm.
communities should look like. Um, this is what authentic whole child care should look like. It should involve
Hmm.
that. It should involve bringing their families together. It should
Hmm.
involve creating networks of support because we need support out here. I'm a mother
Yeah.
too, and I have 3 children, and we need support out here. So even the mental health aspect of it for both the children and the adults to have this
Hmm.
space where they can go and just be with the land and just get back to those roots is amazing. It's marvelous.
Yeah.
So what are your next steps? What are your exciting plans for the future? Where do you see this going?
Oh, that's a really big question. We've been thinking about it a lot. We're actually going through strategic planning. We're going to get started in the next week or so to figure that out exactly. Backyard Basecamp is fairly new. We're about 2 years old right now. We've done a lot of work. There's still a
Yes, you
lot of
have.
work to do. But we want to think about like how we actually do that work, what our community needs are. I want to stay grounded in our community needs. Like there's a lot of pie in the sky ideas um, about things that we can offer, but the truth of the matter is, if our community don't want those programs, they ain't coming to them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
so
Get
we
their
need to
voices. Mm-hmm.
exactly. So that co-creation, that co-developing. So asking our community what kind of programs they want to see, what types of things do they want us to offer, and just infusing them with a little bit more nature. So right now we're running this Know the Dark series, and it's really because it's fall winter time, the darkness comes earlier, and so we really want people to not be afraid of the dark, and so just to come outside and spend some time outside and see like what actually exists in the dark. So we've done a program on bats, we're doing one on owls, and then next month we're going to do something around the night sky, so talking about stars and astronomy and things like that. And it's been really bringing people out because people like want to know these things. I've noticed they just haven't had, I think they haven't had the chance to really go to a program that speaks to them culturally. And that's a big
Yes.
part of what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And to get to hear stories about, Black and brown people who have done this work and the things that they have done. I think it's very powerful, and it really speaks to their experience. And to your point about community networks, we always say it takes a village to raise kids, but there really aren't that many villages anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
You're
with
creating
Meadows,
one. You are
yeah, right.
creating the
We're
village.
creating that village. We're
Hmm.
creating that network for people to find support and to get the help that they need. Or even if they don't need it, if they want it, we're there to create those avenues. And we also want to do some more program expansion. So in the next year, we'll be adding more programs to our calendar um, to meet, like I said, our community need, as well as get some more work with some more public school students and their teachers to come to the site and explore for their environmental studies.
And how are you getting attached to schools? How are you? And I'm asking this because I know that there are people out there listening that are saying, wait a minute, I need this in my community. I need to do
Yeah.
this. And how are you creating those relationships that you are creating within the school system?
Mhm. Well, in Baltimore, each school has what's called a community school coordinator. And so I reach out to those in the public schools within our area. So a note that I want to make is that we're not trying to expand across the entire Baltimore city. We want to stay rooted and grounded in our community, which is in Northeast Baltimore. And so the public schools in Northeast Baltimore, we have developed a relationship with by reaching out to those specific community schools coordinators, saying, this is who we are, this is what we do. We love to offer some programming with, your students. Are there teachers that you know of that would be interested? One, because that's a major part of it.
Mhm.
And if so, can you put us in contact with those teachers? And so, that community schools coordinator is sort of like the liaison. And they put us in contact with teachers who they know would be interested, because if the teacher is not interested in it, the kids aren't going to be interested in it, and it's just not going to be a fun time.
Exactly.
And so we aim for the ones who will be interested first, and of course through the stories that they tell, other teachers are interested, like,
Exactly.
well,
Then
I
it
want my
grows.
kids to go, I want my
Hmm.
kids to do that thing. And so we sort of there's like a mushroom effect, or
Yes.
so to speak. So we start with a very small group, and then we expand from there, as and the past 2 years have been strange because of COVID times. We've been working through them. We've been offering virtual programs. We're hoping to get back into doing our full scale programs next year. But like I said, we just work with the community schools coordinators and sometimes the principal, depending on how big the school is. If it's a big school, I'm not going to get an answer from a principal.
Yeah.
But and I think here in Baltimore, at least, like it doesn't make sense to go to the district because there are so many schools in Baltimore. It really makes sense to go to a specific school and build that relationship there.
Yeah, right from there. So, what would you tell someone who is really, really touched by this and feels that there's a need in their community? What would you tell them their first, maybe 2 or 3 steps would be towards moving in this direction?
Mm. Yeah, one, I would say just do it. Like, it's gonna be scary, and I know that, as people, we tend to make up a whole bunch of excuses for why we cannot do a thing. Um, but I believe that once you make the decision to commit to the project, which is, I'm speaking from personal experience here because this is what I've witnessed. Like, once I made the decision to do this, so many things fell into place. The people who you want and need will come. You just have to take the first step and build that initiative and just build the momentum for what you aim to do. The second step I would say is, if you don't already know who your local council people are, unfortunately, politics is a part of everyone's lives. I know some people are like, I don't like politics, I don't like getting into politics. I don't either. But the truth of the matter is that everything gets done through policy here, in this town. And so building a relationship with, your councilwoman and your senator, let them know what you're trying to do. And then they can sort of give you some resources like, oh, you should speak to this department and this agency. You should talk to this person. So they can give you those resources so that you don't have to do as much legwork. You still have to follow up with those people, which will bring me to my third point, which is follow up. I know a lot of folks who will be, given resources and given contacts, and then they just let them sit there. So definitely follow up, let folks know what you're doing, one thing that I was told early on is if you're not findable, you're not fundable. So really like talk up the work that you're doing, even if you haven't even started yet. You can talk up your dream and don't be afraid that somebody's going to steal your dream, because the truth of the fact is, if we're talking about equitable access to nature, everybody needs it. And there's enough space in this country, in this world, for every
For all
person
of it.
to, exactly, for all of us to do it. And so just do it, build those relationships, and make sure you follow up.
Okay. Wow. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. I want to ask you two things. One, is there anything else that you want the world to know about Backyard Basecamp, about BLISS, about you, before you tell us how we contact you? And also, how can we help your organization? How can someone donate or volunteer even?
I will say what I would want you all to know is that I was a pediatric nurse before I started this work. I recently left the hospital to focus on this work full time. And during the time that I was building this, I was still working full time as a nurse. I was working night shift. And so by day, I was building my dream. And at night, I was, working on my other dream, because I love being a nurse. And so it's possible to do both. And I think a lot of people think in order to do a thing, they need to step out on faith and immediately cut off ties, but it definitely takes time. And so you need to build up to where you can feel comfortable with leaving your full-time work, if that's what you are doing. And secondly, how to get in contact with us is through our website. So our website is backyardbasecamp.org. You can find the links to contact us there. You can find the links to our social media. We're mostly active on Instagram and Facebook. And you can send us an email through there, through the contact us page. It'll go to info@backyardbasecamp.org. You can also just email that, info@backyardbasecamp.org. And yeah, support. We definitely need financial support. One of the reasons why I started Backyard Basecamp is because, as a nonprofit, I started the nonprofit because I knew I needed a lot more capital than I had in order to make this thing work. So we definitely need financial support. Thank you very much, viewers like you. And we also need volunteer support. So on our website, you'll see a page that says donate, and we can please offer time, talent, or treasure. So time as in volunteer, talent as in services. So if you're a lawyer, if you're, a marketer, a finance person, if you have skills that, you think that we can put to use, please let us know. And then, of course, last but not least, treasure. So that will be your financial monies. And we can accept donations of checks on our website. You can give via however you want to. If you are sending a check, please send an email first so that we can make sure it's routed correctly, because some people send things to BLISS, but that's not our mailing address, so sometimes it gets lost. And
it's out there in the forest.
Yeah, exactly. And we're on Instagram, backyard_basecamp. And Facebook, just Backyard Basecamp.
Awesome. Thank you so much for talking to us today. I am inspired, and we will keep in touch, and maybe we'll check back in with you in a year or so to see where you're at, what's going on, and how things have changed. Thank you so much, Atiya Wells, and I hope everybody reaches out to learn a little bit more about Backyard Basecamp and BLISS. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that was another episode of the Defending the Early Years podcast. Defending the Early Years works to support the rights and needs of young children nationally. Learn more at DEY.org. Pay us a visit, sign up for our newsletter, or connect with us on social media. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.